Hello and welcome. Our today's topic is marketing research. Marketing research has been covered in 3 sessions. The first session, like today, will be on introduction. We will just introduce the topic, and then second session will be about marketing research process. The third session will be an example as to how marketing research is to be done. So, today we are going to just define the market research. We will highlight the importance of it, and then we will just introduce what are the steps for marketing research, and then we will move forward. So, there are a number of slides on definition. I will not dwell much on that. We will just move forward and then finally make our own definition. Suffice it to say that marketing research is to understand customer pain, customer liking, whether they are liking our product, and what we should do so that they like our product and they purchase. We can acquire customer and then we can retain them, have sustainable profitable growth model of our business. Here is the definition by American Marketing Association. You can read them, I will not repeat. And the function which links the customer and the company is marketing research. Means that is the purpose of marketing research, to connect company and the customers, so that they have a sustainable long term relationship. A very nice definition is from Wikipedia. In a nutshell, marketing research actually helps to identify the pain points, meaning even before you start a company, you would like to know, you have some idea, or you may not have some idea, you would like to know which customer or what kind of pain some segment of a customer presently have, whether the available solutions are suboptimal or they are not adequate to meet the aspiration, or they alleviate the pain completely. So, you want to know the unmet demand, meaning that customers have a pain and the present solution is inadequate. Understand market needs, preference, aspiration. Evaluate customer satisfaction and marketing performance, meaning you have a product and you would like to see whether customers are satisfied with your product, or whichever features the customers are not appreciating and whichever they want you to add, means which they would appreciate. Then you keep on getting response or feedback from the market and continue to improve the product. So, the marketing research actually is a very systematic and objective process, meaning you gather data that on which you can make objective decision. So, for designing the research methodology, and then collect market data, analyze them, means translate data into information, then you give it to the people who makes the decision. So, that decision can be information based, means informed decisions. So, the decision makers actually need data and perhaps conclusion that comes out of the data. So, without that, in absence of data, the decision will be kind of gut feel, or calculation will be back of the envelope calculation, something like that, which will always go haywire. Marketing means you cannot really depend on gut feel. You think something, the chances are that market will not think the same way. We have a tendency to think that we know everything and we are part of the customer. So, it is not really so. That is why we need accurate, reliable and valid current information, not really historical information, because taste is changing, fashion is changing, things are changing, customers expectation, aspiration, everything is changing, the technology is changing. So, that is why we need current and reliable information. Market is competitive today, competition will be more accentuated tomorrow. So, we need to continuously gather information as to which direction market is moving, so that we can prepare ourselves proactively. So, that in a nutshell actually talks about importance. We have already discussed, we will not dwell much about it, but the whole value chain, starting from the idea to go to market and then to run the company profitably, market research will help us to connect with the customer and fulfill their requirement. Only then we will have a business. Otherwise, if customers are not there, obviously we do not have a business. Arthur Conan Doyle famously said, It is a capital mistake to theorize before one has data. Unless you have data, you just casually make a comment, or based on your background knowledge or your gut feel, your kind of sense of smartness or whatever, you make a decision is always likely to be wrong. Here is an example, like HarperCollins, they used to publish Agatha Christie novel, and in particular year they observed that the sales is declining sharply. There is no reason why human beings remain the human being, but why sales of Agatha Christie books novels were kind of declining. So they commissioned some kind of a market research to understand, qualitative and quantitative, to understand why the sales is declining. The message came out very clear, loud and clear. People liked the niceness of the novels, but the kind of images that were there in the books at that particular time. This is a new strategy, and customers did not like this gory kind of bloody image, gruesome bloody image that was there on the cover of the book was kind of repulsive. So, customers did not buy. So, they again commissioned another design and then came up with a nice sober design, and then sales went up by 40%. This is a direct example that shows the importance of marketing research to understand customer sentiment, customers philosophy, means their aspirations, and then take action to alleviate whatever complaint they have and then achieve better sales. This slide has too much of information. They are small fonts, but they are very important. Every item here is very important. So, activities that support marketing research. Marketing research supports activities are many, means name anything, perhaps everything is supported by marketing research. Awareness creation. You may think that okay, I advertise in social media and customers become aware. It may not happen. You have to start the process, get data whether our message is getting to the customers that we are targeting. They are not yet customer, but people that we are targeting. Unless you do that, money will go down the drain. So, creating awareness, public relation. We talked about some example. RB Parker, they market eyeglasses. So, they did some public relation, means they came up with an article in Vogue, and in the first day itself there was so much of demand that they could not supply, and they had to put up a notice that we are out of stock, something like that. So, that is the importance of public relation, but then you just do anything in public in terms of public relation, it may not be able to generate that kind of responses. So, you need to do prior market research, what kind of message is going to create that kind of euphoria. Market segmentation, positioning, then industry competition analysis, everything together, everything requires market research input through market research, like say concept testing. Concept testing is something I would like to elaborate, but before that, product optimization, product research, advertisement research, usability testing, like say advertisement research. Before even spending a fortune on design of the advertisement, you need to understand which model should kind of try to should be your ambassador, means who has who are connected to your market segment. It may not always be necessary that the most important celebrity, most visible celebrity is the right guy. It depends on his temperament, his brand value, and his connectivity with your target audience. So, you need to do that market research. Usability test means you need to see how so you have a minimum viable prototype, give it to some customer and see where he is clicking, meaning which ones are attracting his or her interest. So, you see the useful the way they use your product. I was talking about concept testing. See, concept testing itself is a huge topic. If you want to refine your product concept, so you have an idea, now you have to talk to customer that I have this idea. Do you think that this is going to solve your problem or somebody else's problem. Now, as you move forward with your product development, this process of validated learning can be done only through interaction with customer. Understand the power of an advertisement campaign, like you shoot an advertisement and then you show it to some people, see how whether they can retain, what message they got and what is the impact. And if you see that this is okay, only then you broadcast that wherever you would like to broadcast, whether television or whatever. So, before you spend a colossal sum of money for advertisement, you want to know the impact of it. Otherwise, money is spent already if you spend before understanding the impact. Customers' response to a new logo, you have a logo. Now, logo has huge meaning. Logo has the meaning of trust, meaning it may not look like you are trustworthy. Your vision should be enshrined in the logo. You are innovative, that also will be reflected in the logo. You are caring to the customer, you are empathetic to the customer, or maybe you promote fun in your company with customer, you connect through a fun process depending on what segment you are targeting. Suppose you are targeting, say you are selling a game or something, then innovation perhaps is going to be more important. Then you should be concurrent, it should not look like it is too old. Identify winning combination of messages, design, images to attract more eyeballs. Suppose you have a website. Now, maybe it is cluttered with lot of information. Maybe customers are not interested in 90% of the information that you provide. So, unnecessarily why to clutter? So, to understand which one customers are interested, you invite some customer, or you post your website and then visit some customer's place, like usability test, or maybe through a A/B test. I'll talk about A/B test we discussed, but we have an example about Barack Obama, so we'll talk about that. But after you show the website and you look at the customer, where all the customers' eyeballs are moving. If you see that their eyeballs are moving on 5 particular places, keep only those, say 2 places, keep only those 2. Like look at Google search engine, they have just one text box on the landing page. So, what you would like to do, you cannot decide. Customers you should look at the customer, and then customer will tell you what all are to be kept. So, that is how people get feedback from landing pages. You have 5 landing pages and you see if people are coming and visiting on these 5 separate pages, and how many of them are spending time on that, how much time they are spending, whether they are clicking or not. If they are clicking more on a particular format, you know that this is the better format compared to others. It is not always sacrosanct, but that is the ballpark. It can be a very simple and quick process, not a very big deal. Here again it is a repetition, but this in a nutshell talks about the utility or the roles of marketing research. One thing that I did not include earlier is the SWOT analysis. Marketing research also helps you to do SWOT analysis, otherwise most of the other things have been discussed. So, I have a separate slide on SWOT analysis. You may be familiar, but we need to discuss about SWOT analysis whenever we discuss about entrepreneurship, because you would like to know your strength, your weaknesses, your opportunities and the threat posed against you. The strength, and there is always a saying that you should do where you are the strongest, meaning that if you do something, suppose you do 5 things, but in one particular thing you are the best, perhaps better than anybody in the marketplace. So, you focus more on that, whether this is slightly less profitable, still you should focus on that, because that is a sustainable place, sustainable area where you will kind of flourish, you will prosper. Today it may not be profitable, but moving forward you add more value and then it might be profitable. Weaknesses are where company is weak and needs improvement. So, you identify where you need improvement through market research. Customer will tell you that I do not like your product because of this. So, that is your weakness, or maybe your competitors are providing better features, you are not. So, you get to know that information and alleviate the weakness. Opportunity are favorable points where you can actually grow, you have the wherewithal, and you just need to understand that these are the opportunities we can we can kind of diversify or we can exploit them. Threats are where you have the weakness and there is a challenge, means your competitors are going to hammer on that and then move ahead of you. There are many methodology or many approaches of market research which are kind of, with this advent of digital world, this is changing and there are umpteen number of them, but you do not have to really memorize any of them. I am just putting it here. I have the reference where this greenbook.org /PDF etc. You can visit this website and download this document. It's a wonderful thing. This document refers to 2018, so it's kind of very current. It's just for information. Now, why market research for the startup? It's obvious, because even before you put idea into something tangible, like you start building a prototype, you need to know whether this idea is worth pursuing. So, you start talking to customer. Then you need to understand who are my customer, means I have this idea, but who are my customer, where to find them, what do they buy at present. If I have this solution, then what is the solution that are presently there and who are offering that, and what features they have, why customers would buy my product instead of the existing product of the competitors, and what is the price. Can I offer them a price, means a competitive price. That is why market research actually starts at the very onset when you have the idea. Understanding customers' response at every step, particularly everything about lean startup or lean product development, this validated learning, build, measure, learn, again start building, rebuilding. This whole process is possible only through customer interaction, and that is what is customer market research. So, the most important part is that you need to do marketing research continuously. It never ends, because you may be very comfortable at this point of time, whatever you are producing, it is selling at a profitable price, but you never know tomorrow it may not happen the same way. So, you have to continuously understand the market changing structure of the market, changing behavior of customers, so that you can always remain ahead of competition. So, customer actually is an integral part of company. Again, revisiting why startup should think about market research is like, you need to understand the structure of the market. Structure of the market includes the previous growth, the total market size, the growth, present growth, growth moving forward. Unless you know this, you should not venture into that. Market structure should be attractive, meaning that there is market is good enough, size is good enough, and you see that market has potential to grow. So, even if you you just press yourself inside the market, but if the growth potential is more, you are going to grow. But if there is a dominant player, two dominant player, they kind of have a huge market share, so it is very difficult to compete with them. They are going to do something to kill new entrant. So, understanding market structure also is very important. So, even before you start, you need to understand market research, particularly for validated learning. There are many models. Decide model is one model that people talk about, but it is not something that is universally accepted, but we need to know. But there is nothing obnoxious about it. These are kind of methodology is kind of steps that you define. I have some 5-step model and 12-step models. 12-step models will be discussed in the next session. For the time being, decide model is define your marketing problem, then you define which variables are controllable, which are not. Then once you define the variable, then you start gathering data, then process the data to understand or identify the best alternative approach, then develop, implement marketing plan, evaluate the decision and decision process. This is kind of a preliminary process of going to starting the marketing research program. So, you kind of decide about the data, then collect information as to how to go about collecting the data, alternative process of collection. We will show, I will show you what are the alternative collection and what kind of data you are going to collect. there are good slide on that. So, the one very important issue is a compromise between how much money you are going to spend and what kind of depth of information you want, what kind of accurate information you want. If you want accurate objective data, meaning numerical data, then you really have to spend a lot of money, because data comes with a lot of investment. So, you have to make a compromise between how much money you will spend and what is the depth of knowledge that you want to gather. This is perhaps the most important part. Marketing types of marketing research, and remember that they are not really mutually exclusive, they are all inclusive. So, market research can be classified as primary, secondary, that is based on the source of data. If you are happy with available data, somebody somewhere have data and you are just gathering, you are just collecting them, either buying them or free, or say you gather something from a magazine that you have bought, you can use that for some kind of research, some kind of get some exploratory idea, some preliminary idea, then that is called secondary data. If you are collecting the data for a particular problem at hand, using whatever means, there are many methods of collecting primary data. This is actually means if you are collecting it yourselves, or you are spending money to collect data, paying money to somebody to collect data on your behalf, this is primary data. By methodology, quantitative or qualitative, meaning you are collecting numerical data, or you are collecting what if kind of data, or kind of like most means say very much or don't like, something like that. It is not really numerical data. By objective, if your objective is just for exploration, meaning that you just want to know whether there is a market for this kind of an idea or a product. So, you do not want to know how much and exactly what is the total volume and how is it growing, then it is exploratory. Descriptive actually is a very deeper exploration, and you really gather data and it actually describe the entire market, describe its growth, its future, its total size, the competitors. Causal experiments is experiment, this is real experiment that you do to see action and the aftermath or the reaction to the actions that you take. Like suppose you spend 5 crore rupees in advertisement, what is the awareness that is created, or what is the increase in sales with that investment, you would like to see. That is causal, means you give some stimulation and you measure the outcome of that stimulation, positive, negative, whatever. So, from we have based on information, based on methodology, and based on objective. First thing is information. So, it can be primary source, secondary source. I have already said primary means you gather data for a problem at hand. Secondary means available information. There are umpteen number of places to find information, starting from your blog development office, some NGOs, some publishing house, or even there are market research companies. They have gathered the data either as a routine process, or they have gathered the data for somebody, but they are selling that data. So, it depends on the level of comfort that you want to get about the market or the position of the market structure. It depends on that. Secondary data is cheaper because the data is already available, sometimes it is free, but primary information you have to spend a lot of money. So, unless you are slightly at the matured stage of the company, there is no point spending a lot of money gathering primary data even before you have started building a product. So, primary research method itself, there are 5 different methods of doing this. It is very important. These are very traditionally done, followed. First one is survey, second is focus group, third one is interview, then experimental and field trial, experiment and field trial, and observation. So, survey is the most widely used among all these 5. Survey is the most widely used, and it is based, normally people use a questionnaire where you put question and you ask people or your target audience to give answers. So, they are kind of objective, and you get a specific metric, and sample can be large, but then larger the sample, higher is the cost. Then target demography, the focus group, you invite people, like you identify what kind of people you are actually targeting, invite some of them in a room, then you give a lecture and get their feedback. Or maybe there will be a one-way glass on the wall, the market research people will be on the other side, and then they will observe how voluntarily people are responding, and when they are getting excited and when they are kind of getting dissatisfied. So, that is focus group. Interview is one-to-one. We will discuss more about it, more about all of them in the next session, but for the timing, interview is one-to-one discussion or one-to-many. You just talk to them, depending on their response you react, and depending on your reaction they will respond differently. So, you get a inner kind of understanding, deeper understanding. Experiment and field trial, it's kind of test, you want to test your hypothesis. You give your prototype to somebody and then they use it, they give you feedback, or maybe you put something like an A/B test. We will move forward. Time is short, so we will move fast to the next slides. Survey can be, we have already discussed survey and focus group, we will not spend a lot of time on this. Individual interview is one-to-one. Experiment and field trial, A/B test, we have a wonderful example moving forward. Observation, you can observe customer behavior from outside. Suppose you are in a mall, you want to see which one the customer is choosing, how he is reading the labels, and then what is their reaction. You can do eye tracking on a kind of a screen where you have a website, or you yourself can be a mystery shopper, like you shop alongside customer. So, you see how they are shopping, something like that. Here is the A/B test. See, before election of Barack Obama as president, they wanted to raise money, donation. So, initially they started with video. They had a wonderful video where Barack Obama, known for his oratory skill. So, they showed the video, but then response was not so good. So, they thought that okay, let us have an alternative. So, they put an image of Barack Obama alone, but then the response was better than video, but then it was not up to the expectation. Then they put another screen where there was the whole family of Barack Obama, he himself, his wife and his daughter, and then the response was wonderful. For video, if 10 people were visiting the site, only something like 1 or some 2 odd guys were donating. For image of Barack Obama, perhaps 3 people were donating, but for the family photo, lot of people, whosoever were visiting, chances are that they were donating and donating handsome money. So, this is A/B test, like in some of the website you put one picture, in some other website you put another picture, and you see the rate of conversion, meaning say 10 guys are visiting the website, say in some site 8 guys are getting converted into donor or customer, in other site suppose 3 guys are getting converted. So, you understand that this one is better than the other one. So, that is how this is tested, because human psych is very difficult. People say that an image speaks 1,000 words. So, image is better than text. Then again there is a saying that a video consists of 1,000 images, but then you can see here that is your hypothesis or your gut feel, but it did not work in case of Barack Obama. Image actually worked, even then different image works differently. So, what lessons they learn? Every visitor to your website is an opportunity, meaning that if 10 guys are visiting your website, there is a chance that 10 guys can become customer. It is the efficiency of your website, efficiency of your narrative, that is converting either all the visitors to customers or a very minuscule percentage of the customer. So, think that every visitor is an opportunity. You have to think why they are not getting converted. So, question your assumption, like a video is not always better than an image. An image may not be always better than a narrative in the form of a text. So, this is a lesson learned. And then experiment early and experiment often, meaning that do not think that this is the best one. Even the family picture of Barack Obama may not be the best one. Maybe there was another opportunity, maybe they did not do another experiment, doing which perhaps they could have garnered even higher donation. In fact, they could raise $60 million through this initiative. So, everything is important, and thank you for this session. We will continue in the next session.